Hello, Honor Chem students. Mrs. Snyder here. Just want to give you a quick little video on gizmos. We'll be using them while we're in this distant learning as kind of a lab portion of our course. So hopefully you guys have gone to explorelearning.com. That would be the login area here. And we have done gizmos in term 3. So we're not having you guys change courses or anything like that. So if you were a first hour kid and now you're in fourth hour kid, don't worry about it. But hopefully you've saved your username and password, and you'll get a screen that looks like this. If you haven't, all is not lost. You can contact either me if you're one of my students, or contact Ms. Herring, and we can help you with the usernames and passwords that you logged into. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and my look is going to look just slightly different than yours because I have a teacher look here. You will have just 1 hour depending upon what hour you're in. And so I'm going to look at just my first hour course, and you guys are going to take and click on that calorimetry lab. And the gizmo then is pretty easy. You just launch, you can just kind of click on that rocket that you have here, and you're given a gizmo. Okay, so this is the gizmo that we have, and this is actually a calorimeter, which we had, I talked about a little bit briefly. I had you guys do some reading about the calorimeter, and really what a calorimeter, there's a couple that are out there, but what we're going to talk about is what we call a constant pressure calorimeter. And all it is it's a cup. Sometimes it's a styrofoam cup, and it has a lid on it. Sometimes there's a stirrer that's in here to allow for movement. And what this calorimeter is going to have right here is some water. Now, water is really important because we know the specific heat of water is 4.18 joules per gram degrees C. And we basically do calorimetry by looking at water and seeing how much heat it will gain or how much heat it will lose, depending upon what you're mixing it with. So in this simulation, I just want you to know that we can change the water temperature, obviously the initial temperature. I'm going to start it off here at 30 degrees, or around pretty close to 30 degrees. We can change the mass, the amount of water we have, so that's a pretty easy piece. And then the last thing that we can do is we can add a substance. Now in the lab that we're going to do, we're going to add metal. So your options that you're going to do in the lab are either going to be copper or lead. There's some calorimetry that you would actually do a chemical reaction here. Say you are mixing an acid and a base, and you want to see how much heat comes off from that chemical reaction. You could do that with this calorimetry as well. So that is kind of all that I wanted to show you. We're going to be doing this lab where you're going to be looking at this piece of copper, and let's say it's at 90 degrees, and you're going to be looking at what's happening with the heat as this is hot and the temperature of the water is 30, and I don't want to give anything really away, but there's going to be some heat movement in there from hopefully what you've learned about heat flow. So that's kind of just a rundown of what calorimetry is and what a calorimeter is, and how to do some of the things that you need to do here on the video. Also, just so you know, there's a point in the lab that's going to tell you to look at the graph, and so if you look at the graph, you can click on this bar right here between this description and the graph, and you can collect some data that way. So hope this helps, and we'll talk to you later.